So what happened in Warsaw? Well, to make a long story short, basically what happened was there's this black guy, and he went by Brown. He was Mr. Brown, Mr. Dirty Dog, Mr. I don't know. He he always smelled like shit. Actually, I asked him, well, I was like, what's his deal? And the girls were like, he always smells like shit. He didn't wipe himself. He was an opium dealer. He used to sell the brown. He used to go, I sell the brown, and he had the brown, which basically he went around and he would basically say, well, you don't get the brown until you take the brown, and he's in one of these things, but basically he would shit in people's mouths, or he'd give out little. What he'd do is he'd go poop on a tray a couple times, and he would just lay them out, and then people would have to nibble on his shit, and he would mix the brown up with his shit. So in order to get the opium, you'd have to literally eat his shit. I guess that's one way to cut it. Oh my god. Like, I don't really know what his deal was. I'm serious. He would literally like shit on a tray, and he would sell it as opium. And they would bake it and dry it, and then he would sell it like it was opium. And I'm not really sure. I think it's because what he would do is he would eat the opium a lot, and he would get like first, he'd go, and then he would shit it out. I guess someone, I don't really know. Like I said, he was in Warsaw. Like, that was his idea. I don't like I say, I was with the Irishman. I had blacksmith shops and all that. Oh God. Anyway, 1920s, 1930s, he was around there, and he was in Warsaw, and I was in Warsaw too. Basically, my people were in Warsaw, like basically Renault Manufacturing. I basically owned Renault Manufacturing. I had the Renault team underneath me, and like I say, really good people. There was some German influence in there, and some and like I said, the Irishmen were working for us, and good Irishmen. Like I say, I love Irishmen. Anyway though, so Mr. Brown was running around Warsaw, and he would wear these fur coats, and he would just and he had this cane, and it had a big spike on the end, and he sharpened it up real good, and I think it was a silver spike actually. He had like a silver spike on the end of his cane, and he sharpened it up real good, and he would go down the street, and he would jab women, and he would jab people with his cane. He had his cane, and he would jab people. He had this cane, and he'd use it as a weapon. And he sold the opium, and he sold the cocaine, coca, and I think he sold coca, but mostly he sold the brown, because his skin was brown, and he figured that he should sell something that's same color. I don't really know. Like I said, I don't really know. Anyway, like I say, I'm Lucifer White Star Lines. Anyway, so the Irishman found out what he was doing, and he would go up to a woman and just slap her. Literally, he'd walk down the street and just go slap. If anyone talked about him, just slap. And he tried slapping one of my Irishmen. Like I said, if you know anything about Ireland, don't fuck with an Irishman. Anyway, that's what he would do. He would just slap people, and if that didn't work, he would take his cane and he would jab people, Mr. Brown. Anyway, so like I say, I employed probably 2,000 or 3,000 Irishmen, a few black people, and a lot of other people. And basically, I was in Warsaw, and we were working really hard. I was doing the train railway, and everyone worked for Lucifer White, or Lucifer Star, basically. I'm Lucifer, pretty much. And And basically, what happened was pretty much he went up to one of my Irish workers that worked in my thing, and like I say, he thought he was going to be in trouble because he got a little rough with Mr. Brown, and they ended up breaking a few of his ribs. And I was like, I'm not mad at you. I'm giving you a raise. I was like, I've been waiting forever. Like I told the cops to get that guy because like he would walk down the street and he would jab women and he would jab people with his stupid cane and he would slap them really good and he'd be like, you're like you can't get the brown till you can't get the brown till you get the brown, and he would shit in people's mouths. And that rubbed me the wrong way. Like I said, that pissed me off. Something awful. That really upset me. And just the way he was just so abusive. He was just a really abusive old man or a really abusive person. And like I say, I mean, Lucifer White Star Line, I mean, mining, shipping, great big ships, aircraft, P-51 Mustang, P-38, the Volker's jet, great big steam trains. I'm production. I'm big, massive factories, the Titanic, the Lusitania. I worked in Louisiana. I had stuff in Louisiana, Lotus, the DeLorean, all that stuff. So I'm that. And here comes Mr. Brown. And like I said, he went and got a bunch of black guys, a bunch of Billy Bob, I forget. He had all these weird names for his people. His Billy Bobs or whatever. I don't know. The little black shaven kids and ugh. Anyway, they would just go around, they'd stab people and do all this other stuff. And he was just, I would like take him out back and break his ribs or something or kill him. I was like, hang him. After a while, he was just, because we're trying to build a train. We're trying to feed people. I have these big, massive ships and I have over 1,000 workers. And here's Mr. Brown. Anyway, he was trying to say he worked for me or he did this or he did that. I was like, throw him out of the town. So they did. I just didn't want him around anymore. I was like, I didn't know about him, but throw him out of the town. So they threw him out of the town. Anyway, he vows vengeance and he probably eventually he works his way up or something and he bombs the town and then they go and find him and I think they imprisoned him for like 20 years. So he hates me forever and he hates the Irish because the Irish kicked him out of Warsaw and a few of the other towns because word spread fast back then. So that guy, that claims he knows about Ford, eventually he laundered his money or whatever, he was just an abusive, sick person. He used to I'm serious, he would shit on a tray and then he would put it in an oven and then he would sell it like it was opium. And like I say, 1910, 1920, that's what was going on, 1930. And so we get there and we're like, we just roll like, because I'm German army, I'm all this stuff. And, nobody likes to eat shit. So, like, I'm serious, he would have these get-togethers where they would have trays of this brown stuff. And he'd be like, yeah, I'm Mr. Brown, yeah, take a bite. And it was just shit. Literally. Cooked, baked shit. He would eat the opium and then he would shit it out and then they would put it on a tray and they would bake it. Disgusting. Anyway, and we are like, oh, you want some opium? We got it in a syringe. It's good to punch someone out sometimes. Anyway, so the Irishmen take him out back. I love Irishmen. I love Irishmen. They take him out back and they throw him out of the town. He goes, felt good. It really did. And the Irishman said that too. They said, it really felt good to do that. It's like, yeah, I know. Just be careful. He's going to be back. I knew you'd come back. I was like, he's going to come back. So we're going to have to get ready for him. So the old Irishman, I think I let him into the weapons vault because it's like, you're going to need some guns and you're going to need some weapons. So they start doing security and stuff like that. We give them guns because, guns in the right person's hand are okay because guns are going to get into the wrong hands eventually. So me and Mr. Brown, we get into the like me and my Irishman and Mr. Brown get into it a little bit, and that's kind of what happened to with Warsaw is that it escalates after a while, and pretty much they eventually